Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's freaking December.
I know, man. Deer season's winding down. Gun season ended here today. Tell you.
But
Well,
depending on what side of the mountain you're on here, it's either closed or still open.
oh, man. Well, welcome back to the Outdoor Drive podcast. I want to thank everyone for joining in on this fine, I don't know, Thursday morning.
In this case, yes, in podcast
Yeah.
land.
And we'll be close to somewhere near Christmas by the time this thing comes out. We'll be out on the 16th. So 10 days till Christmas. Not 9 days till Christmas. But how's it been, Steve?
Dude, it's been rough. It's been cold, but we're still digging, man.
I know it's been nuts. We got a huge cold front here. We actually had snow on the ground. I didn't think that it was ever going to end up here, but it actually came. Showed up.
I'm shocked. They were calling for chances of snow out of that storm before it hit you here.
Yep.
And it didn't do a damn thing. But it was cold as crap. I was curled up behind the tree, like hiding from the wind as it came up the valley. And it was brutal. But
We still have snow on the ground here. But it's like that crunchy, nasty snow because it had snowed and then it rained on top of it.
yeah, it just freezes over.
Oh my God. It's just never ending.
That's all right, man. That's that late season. And on the East Coast, if you're not on food plots or major food sources or whatever you want to call it, the hunting in the woods gets real thin.
Real thin. Especially when there's no food in the woods. And
You
they
know,
punch.
it's not like the Midwest where you can just go sit out over an ag field where they just cut the beans or the beans are standing or cut cornfields and go, oh, well, I know they're coming out. It doesn't work that way on the East Coast. Let me be clear.
No. And they get so punched in behind houses in these small parcels. This is when that urban hunting it gets so important because you get in behind these houses and they get punched in there because they've gotten so much pressure and they've been so overworked and so hunted. I've been in a couple of them and just done like some still hunting, which is pretty tough right now with the crunchy ass snow. But I mean, there's still a lot of deer out there. Still fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why we're still getting it right. There's still season. You grind when you can. And as we roll into new seasons, duck season, goose season, ice fishing, things like that.
Things die there too.
It's hard not to shift focus, even though you should be in a tree. But
It's so hard. So hard.
But
Today
there's
was the last day of gun.
yeah,
And I get invited to go goose hunting.
right.
How do you say no to that?
That was a great video playing cleanup, by the way. Dude, you one shot, one kill.
They
Thump.
it's funny is it's probably been I didn't goose hunt last year.
Nope.
Or very little. The year before I did very, very little, if any. So it's been 2 seasons since I've goose hunted because I've gotten into this whole world of sea duck hunting and they've minimized our limits. So we can only shoot 2 geese. It used to be 3 and the 2 mallards and just local hunting for me has just not been fun. Because it's a lot of work. I got to pull the trailer. I got to put out all the decoys, all the layouts, and it just hasn't been fun. So to get invited to go and do this morning was absolutely epic. Show up. The decoys are already there. The blind's already made. These guys have it down pat. We're hunting a turf farm. It is absolutely epic. The shooting is phenomenal. We were limited out probably by like 7:45, 8 a.m., which
that's a great freaking goose hunt right there.
Just dumb. We were leaving the field at 8:30, birds cleaned and everything.
Yeah.
In the car and out of there. And I was like, wow, I can get down with this. This is fun. And only being able to shoot 2 birds, I'm all right with that. Whatever. But I was shooting my boss shells that I sea duck hunt with. Folds them up. Bismuth, copper-plated bismuth, lights out. I cannot wait to shoot that for turkeys. I am so pumped to sight in my gun and pattern it to shoot 4 turkeys. Nasty,
I'm waiting to
nasty
see.
shit. But yeah, it was fun. It was kind of funny. And I went back looking through the video after because I wore the GoPro, and I was like, I put some damage on today.
That thing thumped them, dude. It was great.
Yeah, you did nice. Good job. Yep, good job. Nice job. Yep, you guys shot real well. I was looking at the video. Uh-oh. We won't go there. It was
Yeah,
fun. We had a good time. It was
hell
good
yeah.
shooting. Everybody had a good time. We shot a lot of birds. So, but but yeah, I'll be back on Thursday. So
Hell yeah.
2 days. So when the next podcast comes out, I'll be back there. So, but how you been, bro? Everything been good?
It's all the same here, man. We're just
Yeah, I
rolling
hear that.
along. You know, we're getting into that year-end grind where kind of stuck at work, vacations kind of burnt low, and you're just kind of getting by, getting out as much as you can.
Yeah.
And you know, the opportunity down here, I am fully invested. After driving the day, I had to go down to my boss's house and drop off a bow that we purchased for her boyfriend as a Christmas gift. And so she sent it to me. I built it for her, got it all set up, kicking off with an Elite Ember. And so dropped it off. And on the way, every little small house that had a little bitty pond, I mean, we're talking like 100 square foot ponds, were full of ducks and geese.
Ugh.
And all I could think is next year, I'm putting a pond in. Back here in the back 3 acres, I am putting a pond in.
Okay.
So that way, this time of year when the deer season kind of starts going into the lull, that late season grind, I'm going to go out and I'm going to smoke me some waterfowl.
That's awesome. I love
Right
it.
here
I
in the
love it.
backyard.
I love it, man.
I'm going to make you haul that trailer all the way from up there down to me.
No problem.
And we're just going to smoke some local birds.
I'm in it, man. I'm in it. I'm all about it, dude.
I saw that just driving today, it just dawned on me. I'm like, why in the hell haven't I done that? I've got the room, I've got the property for it. I've got a nice runoff that runs right through. We could dig it in.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it. It's happening.
I love it, dude. I love it. But you'll be up here duck hunting before you know it. I know that's in the works, so we're gonna make that happen. We'll make it worth your while when you come up too.
We're gonna figure out how to film a duck hunt, like legitimately film it, not just a solo man, because you cannot solo film a duck hunt, let alone duck hunt.
I've tried 3 times.
So
I cannot do it. It cannot be all GoPro. It's so tough.
Yeah.
It's tough being in the boat with the tripod. You kind of like need an extra person. So
yeah, so we'll put Trev in a lay down. I'll sit on the troll boat with the camera, get the GoPros and everything going out, you know, and then flip flop and just kind of play with it, and actually try to do a full episode of sea duck hunting.
Yeah, we can definitely make that happen. I'll talk to the boys here, whether we go with Danny from Ducks on the Bay or we can go with Ian and Luke, or we're gonna make that happen. That's a definitely easy thing because we definitely have to. And I'm gonna try and bring the actual camera goose hunting on Thursday. But if not, maybe we'll put together a nice GoPro one.
It's almost hard to think. You got to take a shooter out of the game to run the camera.
It's tough too, especially in this state. So we can only run 6 shooters. So there can only be 6 people in the blind, period, whether they have a gun or not. So we can only have 6 guys in a blind. So when you take somebody out of it, and if shooting's not the greatest, then
it slows things down.
It does. So it is what it is, man. But deer season's still here. I'm going to hunt a little bit. Bow season climbs back in tomorrow here.
Which would be the 9th your way.
Yep. So that starts in tomorrow. My number 1 shooter buck is down, and I did not shoot.
Confirm it.
I sent the pictures around, and I've talked to a lot of people.
Well, looking at the pictures, I kind of had to think the same way. But I was really hoping he would come back and say it was a different buck.
The only thing, he hasn't gotten back to me, and I'm not surprised, but it is what it is. I just hope that he shows up on camera. I mean, I don't know. And the thing is, it's his left side G2 is what's kind of screwing things up. So he has kickers on his right and his left. But his left side looks like it's broken in the pictures. And if it's broken in the pictures and he lost that flyer, then it's definitely him.
Right.
If he didn't,
if there's no flyer present, then it's a different buck.
Right.
But I don't know, dude. Looking between the eye guards, looking at the twos, threes,
It's fucking way too close.
everything else is like perfect with exception to that one little, 4-inch flyer.
We're not talking about a small deer here.
No.
We're talking a 150 class 8-pointer.
Yeah. It's a stud.
Giant. And man, it sucks because, it was a stupid thing on my part. And I was very arrogant when it came to this, and I wanted to shoot him with a bow. We didn't want to shoot him with a gun. Not just me. I mean, Captain Seth was hunting this deer too. So we didn't want to shoot it with a gun. We want to shoot it with a bow. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But I'm very excited about today's podcast, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I really look forward to our guests. There's some quality content that they have laid down.
Yes.
And, I almost feel like we're kind of following in their footsteps. But I think before we go into that, let's just go ahead and roll into some of those people that we should say.
Actually, hold on. There's something coming in.
Hey everyone, Mike here with some news for your cruise. So a couple episodes ago, I reported on the delisting of the gray wolf. And well, Wisconsin will now be setting their sights on their first wolf hunting season since 2014. The framework for the 2021 season, according to the DNR, will include public input and consultation with the state's Native American tribes. And after that, a harvesting cap will be set for the season. So hopefully more to come on that as they put together the framework and the public information sessions. So now off to Utah, where last week the Utah Wildlife Board approved proposals and changes impacting elk, antelope, deer, bison, and bighorn sheep hunts and permits. For 2021, any bull elk permits have been increased from 15,000 to 17,500, and there will be unlimited number of any bull elk permits for youth hunters. There are also some changes to limited entry elk hunts on 7 hunting units across the state. 5 new antelope hunts have been added, 3 being muzzleloader, 1 archery, and 1 any weapon hunt. For Rocky Mountain and Desert Bighorn sheep, there is 1 new hunt available, and 2 hunts have been discontinued, including 1 in the Zion unit. Dates for general season deer hunts were approved, and as were revised mule deer management plans for 5 units. Now on to Arizona, where on December 4th, the Game and Fish Department held one of their annual commission meetings, and at this meeting, the commission voted 5-0 on option 1 to ban the use of all trail cameras. Other options that were possible included establishing a trail camera season. Along with this, there has been a petition started on change.org, which is gathering signatures for those in opposition to this ban. For me, I'm more concerned that other states may start to follow suit with these type of laws banning trail cameras, but hopefully not. More to come on that, I'm sure. So now let's kick it back here to the East Coast, to Vermont, where Vermont backcountry hunters and anglers member Nate Gusakov has started Hunters Sharing the Harvest Vermont, which is a statewide donation program which connects generous hunters with approved meat processors and Vermont's community food distribution network. Also, thanks to a partnership with Salvation Farms, all donations, deer or dollars, are fully tax deductible, and donors will receive receipts. For more information on this program, you can go to passthebuckvt.org. Great program. I'm glad to see some more of this going on in New England. There are not a lot of Hunters for the Hungry type programs here, so hopefully this will start a new trend here in the Northeast. So keeping it on the East Coast, if you hunt New York, you might want to listen up. The future of New York's deer hunting is at stake with DEC's proposed 10-year deer management plan, which builds off the first management plan that was released in 2011. The 79-page plan can be downloaded from the DEC website, and the plan was developed over several years with public hearings, surveys, and other public input taken into account. Proposals included in the plan include lowering the hunting age for big game to 12 from 14, allowing crossbows during the entire archery season, changing hunting day start and end times from sunrise and sunset to a half hour before and a half hour after, and offering tax incentives for private landowners to allow public hunting on their property. Public comments on this plan are being accepted through December 28th and can be sent by email to wildlife@dec.ny.gov or by mail. With that, as always, if you have any news, please send it along. You can reach out to me at Mike Salter on Facebook or bearded_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
All right, now we can thank people. That's the number one important thing. So first off, I want to thank Jason from Timber Tumblers. You can find him on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on our website, The Outdoor Drive Podcast. No, it's Outdoor Drive OutdoorDrivePodcast.com. If you guys haven't been there, go and check it out. It has all of our sponsors that we're going to list off here. Also, get them in close, Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. The best custom game calls you could ever buy. There is still some Evo Series grunt calls. If you guys haven't checked those things out, they are one and done, the best on the market. Also, he makes custom shit. This is a custom pen with some deer teeth in it. Wicked Twisted Bowstrings, wickedtwistedbowstrings.com. You can go and get your custom bowstrings from Jill at wickedtwistedbowstrings.com. It's not wicked and twisted, it's wicked twisted, if you guys didn't know. Broadside Camo, broadsidecamo.com. Scott Shear over there at Broadside with the photorealism aerial hunting apparel. So go and check them out, broadsidecamo.com. Also, Wild Edge Inc., wildedgeinc.com, the leader in mobile hunting. Out on the Limb, mfg.com. They sell camera arms, platforms, a lot of saddle hunting stuff, and also tree stands. It's custom manufacturing shop. That's it.
Outside Camo.
I already had him.
Did you?
They were third.
Oh, I was too busy looking at show notes.
Nice
My
job.
bad.
I think that's it, man.
Indeed. Well, I'm sure these boys are sitting in the staging room. Let's go ahead and pull them in.
Let's do it.
All right, brother.
Nice shot. Here comes a shooter. Big buck.
Stack.
I'm telling you, the swamps suck my soul. Like, there's no species I desire more to shoot than the Sika. but it's been bad news bears for me every time. But Paul does
Do
good.
they got to do an
Paul does
intro?
great.
Do they got to do an intro or something to start this off? They probably got to do something. They good?
Nope, we're already there, guys. You
All
just
right,
did
look
it.
at that. We're good. So
Trev?
that story. So Blackwater.
My
we go
name's
to
Joel. I'm a
Blackwater, right?
recovering Seekaholic.
Going to Blackwater. I take Joel out there for the first time ever, and I get him to like walk out into this swamp. And mind you, it's probably so. In order to get in, you've got to take a roundabout way to get there. If you've ever been in the swamp, you can't get through the Phragmites, right? They're like 7 foot tall. You can't see anything. They're thick
Yep.
and nasty. So you take wherever there's a trail and just kind of go with it until you can get into the open and kind of cut where you need to be. So we're going out, and as we're walking out in the dark, it's like a 1.5 mile walk, and there's like snakes in the water, and Joel's deathly afraid of snakes too. You want to see him scream like a little bit? Drop a snake in front of Joel. He hates snakes, hates them. So we're getting out there, and I'm working him back into the swamp. We get out, we get set up. I walk him over to a tree. I'm like, hey, you're going to climb this tree. Mind you, every tree's dead, right? So you're like about to put a climber on like a
They're
dead
not trees. They're a Hollywood movie set for death.
And they're this big around. They're 6-inch
Yeah,
trees.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's around-
So
Exactly.
your tree stand points down.
Yes. On the last setting.
We get him out there. He's looking at me, and he's already got like that negative Nancy look. He's like, you got to be kidding me. I'm going to sit out here in this for this tiny little rat deer. So I get him in the tree. We get up, set up. I walk over, get in mine. I'm probably, 250 yards away, Joel, or something like that?
Dude, I couldn't see past the mosquitoes. You were back there somewhere.
I got my binoculars up.
They're
and I'm looking at
birds.
him. You can
They're
see him
birds.
swatting the bugs and like doing his thing. Well, we're sitting out there, and it's like basically an all-day sit. And so it starts pouring down rain. And if you ever hunted with Joel before, he always carries around this stupid little umbrella that he puts around the tree. Like he's got this tree umbrella.
Yep. I've seen them.
You just like he's got one always with him. And so I pull up my binoculars, and he knows I'm looking at him. He waves at me, and he's all proud of this little umbrella he's putting out. And he picks it up, and he puts it around the tree, and he's got no rain coming down on him. And he's just smiling at me, waving away. Well, little does he know out in the swamp, when you make a place where there's no rain, every mosquito, bug, sucking thing is going to be up underneath of that umbrella.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got his head up underneath of this thing. All of a sudden, you just see him swatting and banging. So
Okay.
right at dark, I pop a sika, like this little hind. And so on top of him being like torn up all night long, he's got to help me drag this thing out, which is like 1.5 miles back. And he hates dragging deer as is. So we wheel this thing out. As we're going back, he's motherfucking, and he's unhappy the whole way back to the truck. We get back to the truck, and I look up at him with a flashlight, and he's got a knot on his neck where something tapped his neck. It's like this big growing out of his neck.
It was the perfect storm.
He's looking
because
at
I'm
me
allergic
just
to
about in
deer.
tears. He's like, bro, this is the worst day of my life. Can I please just go get a steak? I need a steak and a smile to get me out of this damn swamp.
It was honestly, looking back, that was the hardest hunting year I think I've ever had. You know how you have ups and down years?
Oh yeah.
So that year had been like the worst, like just impossible. And where it gets better is we're hunting this public land, and it's just been really hellaciously hard year. And of course, we just come out of the swamp episode, and we're hunting this public land, and the rule is 15 inches or bigger. And we hadn't seen a shooter in weeks. And Brian and I finally decided, let's just start hunting the same tree, and we'll film it. But we're going to take 2 guns in case someone gets one down. Like, what are the odds? Like, we haven't seen a deer in 2 weeks. So why are we taking 2 guns in case we get 2 in one set? But we did. And this buck pops out. And it's the first buck I've seen since the swamp episode. And I'm like, finally, redemption. This is it. Finally, redemption. My season's going to end up okay. So I get the scope up, and he pops out. And I'm so scared, like, to even pull the scope up to check out his antlers size. But I don't want to quite pull the trigger in case he's not a trophy and we should be shooting him. But I'm pretty confident he is. So I'm like, Brian, I have it on him. And I'm already know that if this guy even twitches, I'm firing. Because I'm pretty confident. I was like, Brian, is he legal? And Brian's like, I think so. I was like, is he a shooter? And Brian's like, give me a second. So he gets up, he moves over to check it out. The next thing you hear, go bang! bam! He's like, yeah, that was a shooter, all right.
So Brian shot it.
That was the hardest season I've ever had. I just couldn't get out of my slump.
That is priceless.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
guys, welcome back. And I guess you guys now know who the Sons of Fall are. We're back on the phone. And why don't we turn this key and get this drive underway? Why don't you guys tell them who you are, where you're from, and what you guys do?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Y'all start
Paul,
however
go ahead,
you want.
man. You haven't talked yet?
All right, sure. So Paul Lawver. I'm from Maryland. Been living in this mid-Atlantic area for about 30 years or so, from Montana originally. And I work, we all have day jobs. So my day job is I work for a appliance manufacturing company out of Wisconsin, and we manufacture premium under-counter refrigeration, and I run our sales for the East Coast. And so that's what I do full-time, and then Sons of Fall part-time, which is more and more time as we get into more and more endeavors that we try to do to grow our business. So
Indeed.
Just hunt, fish, loving every minute of it, as they say.
Hell yeah. Well,
Brian?
you want to go next?
Sure, yeah. So Brian Henley, so one of the main founders of Sons of Fall. So Joel and I go back a long ways. We met when I was in the military. He is fresh out of the military. And funny story is we hated each other like all through my military time, right? So we met, I was deployed. I had a chip on my shoulder, a young sergeant in the Air Force. And he was one of my reach back support guys. And so I used to call him lazy and an asshole and whatever I could to like motivate him.
It didn't work.
And so,
Okay, so real quick,
really
you called him a reach back. Are you sure he wasn't a reach around?
I had to reach around to reach backer.
Okay.
He was lonely.
I'm sorry, I had to. Maybe
I
jokes.
was lonely. But
That explains
yeah.
why he was angry.
I get back from a deployment. He's like my lead contractor in the government, and again, still didn't like each other. And then like one day, he's getting ready to take off the office. And mind you, this is back when he still had hair, right? So he had hair. He had like frosted tips and a leather jacket all the time, and was like a lead singer in a band. Like this was
Top Gun.
Joel's life, right? Like so, I was a military deployment guy. Didn't realize like his background at all. Like I just never got to know him. And like one day, he's like, "Oh man, I got to take off early. I'm actually gonna go hunt." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you hunt?" And he was like, "You hunt?" And I was like, "Yeah, I hunt." And we were like, "Did we just become friends?" From then on, dude, we were like best friends after that, man. We hunted together, done everything together. And so, what, Joel, like 6 years ago now, it seems like 5-6 years ago, it might even be more than that. We sat down at a Green Turtle one night and kind of stenciled out what we would do with our lives, and came up with this idea of Sons of Fall, which initially was like, let's create a hunting show. Went out and bought cameras, spent a bunch of money, realized it's really hard to make a hunting show when you work full time and you only got 2 people doing it, and your budget is basically zero. So you're hunting public land. You don't exactly kill a whole lot of deer on film on public land, surprisingly enough. It makes it a little bit difficult. And so, especially when you're hunting one state. And we said, we need to rethink this. And both being analysts, we decided we were going to cast a really big net and go out and just find a bunch of people that were like-minded like us, and see that had some basic idea of how to film and enjoyed doing this. And this was about what, 3 years ago now, Paul, that we started doing this. We reached out to you as part of this. And
Yep.
then,
Exactly.
that year we had, I think, 7 or 8 people that came on board as cast, and they all submitted film, and Joel actually started editing then, putting our shows together, and things have kind of taken off since then. We've really been on an upward trend here of getting footage out there. We finally got our first couple of episodes on Amazon Prime this year. We should be releasing another 3 here in just a little bit. And then we just reached out into the apparel line. If I was to turn this around, you could see that this whole room is like our manufacturing plant right now. So clothes and apparel and shelves, and
That's
do
awesome.
all of our prototyping in here and all that stuff. And we work with, we decided we were going to be a completely American-made company, at least as much as we can find manufacturers for. And so we've got a couple of local guys here that are making shirts for us. We're working through kind of the pants regimen now, which is surprisingly difficult in the US to find a pants manufacturer. And so we're working through it. Hopefully summer next year, we'll have a pair of pants out there and building the line out. So yeah, that's kind of
our goal right now with the Artemis line of clothing is to just have early season gear to get us going. And so the pants, hoodies, shirts, neck gaiters, beanies, things like that to cover us from head to toe to get through, that October-ish into November timeframe, basically.
Yep.
But that's our goal for this next year.
Yep.
That's awesome. How about you, Joel?
Yeah, you're looking all lonely in your hotel.
You haven't really said much down there.
Yeah, I'm going at this point. Hello, I'm Joel. I'm in quarantine. Didn't know yet. But now I was joking to Brian. I was like, dude, I go nowadays and don't talk to anybody. The days are bleeding in. I think today's day 9 for me. So I'm
Day 10, man. It's day 10. I'm keeping track. I'm keeping tabs over here for you.
Yeah, no, I'm like to brag that I pulled Paul in. I found him once we decided to cast our net a little bit bigger. Paul was the one thing we realized, like Brian said, was it's a lot of money and a lot more work. We thought you could just get a camera and get out there and just record some stuff and get a show going, and we were humbled very quickly. But I think the only good thing that we took away from it was we tapped out pretty quickly on it. Like Brian went out and bought the biggest mammoth camera you've ever seen. Like, and he's like, dude, it's cable worthy, and he's right. But the thing is, we went too big. Like, we didn't even know what apertures or f-stops or any of that was. So
you went like straight cinematic out the freaking gate.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, we went big. We went big,
Like a
bigly.
CS5 and all that, cinematic lenses.
Yep, I bought a Sony. Basically, it was what was that? PMW 5, whatever it is, a PMW 7, whatever the one was back then. It was their top of the line model. It was like a $8,000 camera.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We had no clue what it was, and beyond that, just carrying it to woods was sucking our souls every
Yeah.
day. So
that's as bad as the over-the-shoulder video cameras.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That's what it was.
Like mounted on my shoulder.
Like
it was.
I've seen pictures of it.
And to get that in the tree, man, it was just impossible. So, like, we tapped out, and then we went back to the drawing board, and I was like, hey, why don't we get a cast, people to help us out, because our kills aren't going to be enough. But the one thing we did, we realized instead of reinventing the wheel, I was like, let's go after guys that have a big social media following already. So, like, if we get, they have 20,000 and they have 20,000. So we went after people that had, one, social media presence, and then two, I wanted someone that killed year in and year out. Because you could tell that one guy's an internet sensation, like, hey, they killed one big buck, that's awesome. But it was one time they're ever going to do it in their life. And I came across Paul, and I was like, this guy's dropping big buck every year on film. So my claim to fame is I found Paul.
Good call. Good call there.
It was the best. Like, now that we're years into it, like, and our sponsors, if they heard this, they'd just laugh. But it truly was the biggest smoke and mirror show I ever pulled off in my life. I went to stock photography and just downloaded a whole bunch and then added some music in. And I was like, hey guys, I'm making a TV show. And they're all like, wow, this is really good. The truth is we had no footage, nothing.
Yeah.
So I kind of bamboozled and faked him into it. But years later, we do all our own now. We're doing
But you've been true to your word, brother. We've made it happen.
Yeah, but it was smoke and mirrors in the beginning. We had absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it was that fake it till you make it mentality. You get what you can and fill in what you can't.
We 100%. Our first video was 100% stock photography, and now we're all 100% original. But we got a good cast, good people. Some of them have stayed with us, like Shelby and Austin. They've been with us for a while. Ted Wallace has been with us for a while. So they're pretty good guys. And then now we brought on some outside people, like celebrity visits and stuff, which is cool.
So you should talk about that too, Joel.
Which part?
The celebrity side of our business.
Yeah, this year we had some really cool people. Like, hopefully if anybody's watching, they'll go visit them. We had Sarah and Raymond Rowe, they're WWE wrestlers, and they have the Wild and Free TV, which really cool guys. So we were able to do some joint stuff with them. We went down to Florida and we're popping pigs, which I thought was a blast. I had no clue that I'd have so much fun shooting hogs. So we did that. And then Kevin Miller and Brad Marchand, they're NHL players with Boston Bruins. And they have Martian Mill. So definitely check them out. They have a pretty cool clothing line and then their own hunting stuff going on. But we teamed up to do a lot of joint filming with those guys as well. So
Cool.
for our fans, which is really just our moms, it was nice to it was nice to bring in some other
I'm calling bullshit.
Yep. You got the big bullshit on that one.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm like, we got 3 views. My mom watched it 3 times. But we did have some really cool people join in this year, those personalities, besides Paul and his cool personality. And then next year, we're not ready to announce it yet, but we have some other pretty cool things lined up.
Yeah, for sure.
So a long way from stock photography. In the end, I'm not condoning bamboozling people, but it does pay.
But hey, here's the thing though, and this is something that Joel and I stand by in this industry, and that's anyone that's trying to get into it needs to know if you make a promise to somebody, you gotta see it through in this industry.
Amen to that, man.
Yeah, that's the trick. You can fake it till you make it, but if you've made a promise to do something, you gotta follow through in this industry because people don't forget.
I think there's a lot of people in the industry that kind of snake their way through it and they're not real. You know, as
some
we were
close
talking
calls
off
with
air, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that just aren't real, and there's a lot of, you know, fake stuff. So to find good people out there that are real is definitely an important thing, and keeping up on their word, you know.
Paul's got a good story about keeping up with your word and being real.
Let's hear it, Paul.
Oh yeah, it's out now. Out now.
This sounds interesting.
You talking about this right here?
I just had to one of our best relationships, our sponsors. We work with Baku, we love that. And just this week, I gave him the story. So, Paul, you can let it loose now.
You're going to really embarrass me now, aren't you? You're going to really embarrass me. So,
I said a story. Brian said a story. This is a good one. You should. You guys are going to love this.
Let her rip, brother.
Baku bikes, e-bikes, best bike on the market for sure. Stepped up and took faith in us and provided a couple of bikes for us. Joel has one and I have one. And part of that plan is that I hunt Ohio. I lease several hundred acres in Ohio with some friends of mine, and we've been doing that for like 8 years out there, and we always kill some pretty nice deer out there. So the plan is that Joel and Brian were going to go to Illinois, and I was going to Ohio to hunt this year's 2020 rut. Well, I was going to take the Baku to Ohio, and they were going to take Joel's Baku to Illinois, but they needed my Baku in Illinois to be able to film Brad and Kevin both riding, you know, the Baku bikes and get some footage for Baku and stuff like that. So we made an arrangement for us to meet in Zanesville, Ohio.
Okay.
Which is, you know, not far from where I hunt. And so we ended up meeting, and we're in a rush because one of my buddies had just killed a deer that evening. And I needed to get back to go help him, you know, drag the deer, find the deer, all that kind of stuff. So I'm in a rush. I meet them. We take the bike rack off the back of my truck. We put it on Joel's truck, put the pin in, snap it in, get the bike all set up. And we're like, fuck yeah. We're like, yeah, high five. We're like, have fun, you know, see you in Illinois and that kind of thing. So I get back to where my buddy is looking for his deer, and we get the deer out, and we literally get the deer on the back of the truck in the trailer, and my phone rings, and it's Joel, and he's like, dude, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? And I was like, well, give me the bad news. He goes, your bike is gone. Like, it is forever gone, totaled. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it literally fell off the back of the truck, and it was like, he said it's not exaggerating, like 30 feet high in the air. Now, granted, he's going down I-70 towards Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
He's going 75 miles an hour, right? That's what you do on I-70. And that Baku is literally just in pieces flying down the road, according to these guys. I wasn't there, but he showed me pictures, so I know it was in several pieces. So, and I'm like gut punched, because I'm like loving this bike. It's like Joel lost his soul. That became part of my soul. That bike did, So, and then he said, well, do you want the good news? I'm like, well, what can be the good news out of this? He goes, well, nobody got killed. I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. So
it was like the 4th of July. The only reason it was nighttime, and the only reason I knew that bike came off was I saw sparks way up in the air behind me. I'm like, what could sparks be doing in the air behind me? The bike had literally come loose, was doing spins, would go up like 20 feet, and a car would go under it.
It was still attached to the bike rack, guys. A solid steel bike rack his buddy custom made for this.
So, yeah, let me explain that. So my buddy made 2 bike racks, custom made, super heavy duty, made out of steel. Like these things could go through a 75-mile-an-hour crash and last. I've got proof of that now. But what happened is when I put the bike rack into the receiver and I put the pin in, it didn't go through the hole on the hitch.
Kind of did one of these things.
I didn't push it far enough in. So when I put the pin in and locked it with the cotter pin, it didn't go through anything.
It wasn't
so
through
as they were going down the highway, it just started vibrating and eventually worked itself out.
Oh, shit.
And we lost a $4,500 bike.
We're going down the highway, and Joel looks over at me and goes, we just lost the bike. And I look at him like, what? He's like, in pure panic, because I'm telling you, like, every car swerving to the left, swerving to the right, it's bouncing in the air going down the highway. We're all like, oh, we're going to jail. We're going to jail for real.
I knew there was no way
This is
we could
great
end up in
federal
jail.
county in the ass prison time right here. This is not going to be good.
So apparently Baku knows now that I totaled the bike, and
I came clean with him yesterday or the day before. He's
Oh,
like,
geez.
tell him. I'm like, hell no. I just want to finish up the hunting season. Let's just. We have 2 weeks planned.
the guy at Baku did the same damn thing too? Is that correct?
Yeah,
he lost the bike.
His own personal stuff, something else like that.
Gotcha.
But we went on a tear streak from there for killing. Like we all did really well, so it was kind of good luck. How'd your all season go?
Went really well.
Ohio was definitely a treat. It did really well for us locally. We've been on a doe slaying kick. The bucks have not been very cooperative in our home states.
Nope. My shooter got shot yesterday. Last day of gun season.
By you?
No.
In Connecticut?
No. Yeah, in Connecticut. So I woke up to go deer hunting for the last day of shotgun. It's about, I don't know, 3:30 in the morning, scrolling through Facebook. And the first thing that pops up is my shooter. And I'm like, no, my number 1 on the hit list. So
that deflates it.
Oh yeah, I rolled over and went back to bed.
There's a 1% chance that deer is not dead. 1%.
Yeah, there is a 1% chance.
It all depends on whether a flyer was broke off or not.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha.
So he's got a flyer on one side on his G2, and if it's not broken off, I contacted the person to see if it was or it wasn't. If he gets back to me and says that it has a broken flyer, then it's definitely that deer. If it's not, then it's not. I mean, it could be a son or whatever. You know, he could be. It's tough to tell, but
yeah,
I'm
when
almost
you look at the pictures next to his pictures.
Public land?
What's that?
Public land?
Public land. Yep.
No kidding.
Yeah, I only hunt public land. I have one private piece here. It's a small little 10-acre piece, the funnel piece, but yeah.
I tell you don't hear much about Connecticut and deer hunting, and you know.
We don't talk about it. That's why.
Yeah, they've done very good keeping it quiet because there's been a pile of giants killed there this year.
Wow.
Let me take that back. They've all been small deer killed there this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a cool one for you. Hold on one second.
All right.
Yeah, so Trev does a lot of domestic beetle skull taxidermy.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got some absolute really cool bucks.
Oh, geez.
That's awesome.
I like that.
I like it.
Yeah, he's tall.
I like that.
Jeez.
He's
It's
clean.
something else.
How wide is he?
They
He looks
put him at probably close to about 8 years old.
Oh man.
almost 9, I think. They have trail cam pictures from them from 2016. So,
Hmm.
pretty cool deer.
I got-
Somebody shot on public land.
Got an entire room of deer. I killed my first private land buck that I would mount this year, and I've been hunting since I was a kid. And every deer that I have mounted is a public land deer. All of my biggest deer are public land deer by far.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how Trev's season went. So in Ohio, Trev got a buck of a lifetime. He put down 166-inch
Oh, really?
Ooh.
public land. We were
Yeah.
there for a week, went in blind.
AEP property, or what is that?
It was,
It was fed land.
yeah.
Oh, it's federal. Gotcha.
Yep.
So Fedland is awesome, right? Like Fedland is one of those things that is mostly like a lot of people don't spend the time needed to figure out federal land because of the requirements to get on it, right? There's always a weird place to go, and it's not always posted on the state DNR sites, and sometimes it's hidden away. Maryland is that way. Like
Yes.
for anyone that wants to go to Maryland, federal land has a separate bag limit than the rest of the state. So
Yep.
Oh, really?
in Maryland total, you can shoot 22 bucks.
Yep.
If you go to all of the federal land.
I told you, Trev,
So
you can kill a deer a day in Maryland if you do it right.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
I used to shoot somewhere around 15 to 16 a year in Maryland.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane.
Maryland's a great state for public land hunting.
That's crazy. We just got a bunch of public land here in Connecticut that just opened, and I'll tell you, it is phenomenal hunting land. Like, phenomenal. A couple of my buddies, we had just opened after, like, this Great American Outdoors Act, and, like, this stuff just started popping up here and there, and it was all newer land. And I'll tell you what, dude, we started scouting it this year, and some of the bucks that are on it are incredible because it had never
That's
been
awesome.
hunted before, and just some great deer. But yeah, I'll tell you what, this was my first year doing do-it-yourself out-of-state hunts, and I don't ever want to hunt my home state ever again. I could care less.
Ohio's a very addicting state. You know.
Oh, it's bad.
We lease about 800 acres, and you know it's private land. It's not state land, but it's still DIY. We're hanging our own sets and
Oh yeah.
scouting and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's an addicting state for sure.
Yeah, I'd say within the week we were there, Trev was there about a week and a half, a little longer than me. And between the two of us, I'd say we saw 14 deer over 130.
Mm-hmm.
I missed a 170. I hit an oak branch and skipped over his back.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And that's
Big
actually
deer.
what set us up to move in to set up where Trev killed the 166 on the opposite side of the bedding. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it was insane. It was a blast.
That's great. That's
You pick
awesome.
160, it's like those are lifetime deer. They don't have them very often.
Oh, yeah. Well, it makes you sick when you lose all the recovery footage.
Yeah.
We had it all
You know,
on film. We got everything set up. We got going in for the initial setup. When we decided to back out, we switched cameras. The memory card corrupted.
Oh,
So we lost everything from the recovery.
Jeez.
Honestly, that's a part of the reason I have the exact camera that I have right now. So I actually do. So I've used a ton of cameras, right? So not to change everyone to tech stuff now, but the Lumix GH5S, people don't have it. The dual,
with the dual
memory
slot.
card side of it, where you can actually double right to it when you're
Yep.
going out and you're actually on a kill, like you're actually going to kill shoot.
Yep.
Like those dual, you get to double right, and it like is so amazing to do, and it's a really good price camera for anyone that's trying to get into it at a decent price point and have a professional grade camera. Like that camera's awesome.
It's definitely something I'm looking back on because I compared two cameras between a Sony and a Panasonic. I ended up going with a Panasonic because of some of the other features. The Sony had the dual card capability.
Yep.
And that was like, and I was like, I'll go with the Panasonic because I can do more creative work.
Yep.
And after that, I was like,
you're a DSLR guy?
I bounce back and forth. I run DSLR and 4K.
Yep.
I prefer DSLR, preferably SLR, but I'm kind of a freak. I play with everything.
What
I'm
do
a
you
tech
guys
guy.
recommend? What do you guys normally running?
So for us, we actually have like, as we get cast on, we kind of direct them a series of ways. So there's, what is your camera's thing? It's a Panasonic.
Let's see. This particular is the WXF 991.
Got it. Yep. So I generally recommend DSLRs. There is a so Joel uses his kind of B camera is a Panasonic. What is it? A Z whatever, Joel?
500. Very unknown. Like no one knows about it. It's like super secret camera. It's really odd.
So it's an awesome base model. It'll do 4K, which is nice. It's got a really good autofocus features inside of it. It actually has an in-body zoom, so it's a variable lens inside of it that you can actually zoom on the body.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of cool for a DSLR, right? So it's
Yes.
really easy to use for somebody getting into
Yeah,
it.
instead of changing settings or rolling.
Correct. You don't change lenses. You don't get
Built-in ND
settings. It's got a bunch
Yep.
of good auto stuff, built-in ND filter. So awesome base model to learn cameras and still get good footage. So we recommend a lot of our cast to get that when they come on board. Is like, hey, that's a great starting point. And then I use a GH5S, a Panasonic GH5S, which is my personal favorite camera. I like it. Its downfall is the screen size. You need to have you have to have an extra monitor to really get it. Joel actually bitches at me all the time because
You can't get that view with it.
I've missed.
I feel you.
The thing is, he likes to thread the needle. He shoots in everything f2.8.
I do. I live in 2.8. So.
You've missed it, right? And so he's got the smallest little thing, and he's trying to thread the needle with an f2.8 stop. And I'm like, dude,
he likes that bokeh.
Yeah.
He's all about that, which is awesome when you nail it.
When I nail it, it's good. But I have missed a couple of shots on some things, so like that is the problem with it. But I love that camera, and then we're just starting to kind of upgrade in prosumer stuff right now. Joel just upgraded his camera. He has a Black Magic DSLR, the Pocket Cinema.
Yep.
And then so
I've looked at that. I'm very on the edge about it.
It's an insanely good camera. I will tell you that. The one thing that I kind of have an issue with is you've got to get the external battery source with it because the battery is rough. Like it's got an awesome processor. It's got huge dynamic range. Like you can fix a lot of mistakes on that camera. Like there's just so much room for error with the camera.
And that big screen,
you can bring it back.
Nice.
The screen's built in. It's really, really nice, and the price point is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
You gotta have the batteries because you're swapping them out like every 30 minutes to an hour.
I take 7 batteries, but
that's good to know.
And he puts them in his underwear because he's got to keep them all warm too. So,
yeah.
Hey, you do what you got to do.
I just made a post. We were in Colorado, and I was a full-time camera guy for that one. At night, like I literally sleep with the batteries in my crotch to keep them warm because you juice them all up before you went to bed, and then just make sure in the morning they're still effective. I'd sleep with them in my crotch.
Oh yeah, you get that cold weather and it shorts them out in no time.
I run with 7 batteries.
So that's kind of our thing. We're big Panasonic and Black Magic fans.
Gotcha.
Well, and for a self-filmer like myself, I seldom ever have a camera guy.
Right.
When I do, it's awesome. But 90% of the time or more, I'm self-filming. So I'm using a Canon XF 400 with the boom mic and a VariZoom, on the handle to control the zoom in and out and the f-stop. And I can manually change focus with the VariZoom as well. So that's good. But self-filming to try to get a kill shot in manual mode, it's almost impossible.
You can't.
It's almost impossible. Yeah. So I'm in auto mode when a shooter's coming in. I'm switching over for sure into auto mode at that point.
Yep.
So all B-rolls done in manual.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. We're pretty big on the DJI Osmo pockets as well for B footage and footage.
That's it's on my Christmas list. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's like Connecticut's a sleeper state. The Osmo pocket's that sleeper camera that we firmly believe in. And I know we don't want to tell anybody about it because it's such an awesome.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, Paul, don't tell people because I'm telling you, if it's on the Christmas list, get it. It's 100% worth.
Anything from DJI in the last 3 years, with exclusion to 1 or 2 things, has been on the money. Like the Pocket 2 and that are probably my two on the list things that I want to get next. So I can do the drone footage and I can do the B-roll.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
Joel and I just
Joel's
gave
getting
away our
checked in
pocket
on.
so
So,
we can get the pocket twos.
oh, sorry.
Joel's actually doing work. He's like, that's his check-in with the Navy. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, are you still in your room? Have
Did you
gone-
leave your room?
Hey,
Hey, are
Hey,
you
What's your
pregnant?
temperature?
what's your temperature, man?
Hey, stick your finger up there and tell me if you're warm.
Tell me how I
Tell
was
you
wrong,
that
Joel.
Osmo is money, and it's worth taking a few minutes to learn it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this. It's kind of like the iPhone. Like the new iPhones are so prolific in what you can accomplish with like an iPhone Pro.
I have been doing a shit ton of B-roll just on the new iPhone.
It's one thing
Is
to
that
do
right?
with the iPhone, but if you just take a few minutes, Brian's really good at that. Like go to YouTube, learn how to use that iPhone.
Yeah.
You can get amazing footage and pictures off of that. And the same for the DJI, the number 2 they had that just came out.
Yep.
Sensor's a little bit bigger. The audio is better. If you go do some tutorials on it, the footage off of it is phenomenal. And I have people that are like, wow, how'd you guys do that shot? And I don't want to tell them. I'm like,
Well, here's the
I'll
thing.
tell you the secret sauce. There's a $300 item out there that can do it.
Well, everyone gets so wrapped up on gimbals. You need the $700 gimbal. It's like, have you seen this thing? Literally, it's everything in something that
Yep.
sits in your shirt pocket.
And
Exactly.
they're all saying
Super fast startup. I mean, you
Yeah.
just hit the button and it's on.
Yeah, that's great.
That's what's great about it.
Trev's over here like, you fucking nerds.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we'll geek out. I mean, obviously, we're a media company, right? We like to film. We
Yeah,
like-
I'm
Got a
I'm the
GoPro.
I'm the same way. I geek out on camera stuff, production shit. I love it.
we didn't used to. Like, if you told me 3 years ago that I would know all this stuff or be learning this stuff and geek out on it, I would have been like, get out of here. But
Well,
now,
that's the thing is, the more you get into it, you start with it, you play with it, and that's like, well, that sucked. What does it better? And then before long, you're in this rabbit hole of, well, that does that really cool. And if I do this and then add it with this and then add it with this software, it's epic. And then before long, you're just so far down the rabbit hole, you're never crawling out.
But well, the biggest thing in doing this, like if just advice to any reviewers that want to film, like the biggest thing I can tell you is talk with people that do it as well, and they'll give you honest feedback. Because like end of every shoot that we do, Joel and I will sit down, Paul will go through the footage, and there's no blowing smoke up each other's asses. Like we're pretty cutthroat when it comes to like footage, right? Like we are. Yeah, you fucked that up. That's not
Your composition was wrong. You should have gone at it this way. Yep.
But like we do it all the time, but that's how we get better, right? Like we literally are constantly learning from what we do, and there's things we can do better. And like literally, Joel and I were talking today. It's like, hey, when we should have shot that in F4 instead of F2, right? Like, why did we do that? Oh, we're just trying to thread the needle. I didn't need to thread the needle there. It wasn't important for that sequence, right? It's literally, and it's that simple stuff that like makes you in your head the next time you're there. It's like, oh man, he kicked my ass last time that I did this. Maybe I should bump this up a little bit and just deal with it being a little darker.
Yeah,
You make-
either it works or it doesn't, and then you just change the exposure and do some light work. And
Yeah, you do the things you got to do, but it's good to have people around you that'll bust your balls when you mess something up, because
it's the only way to get better.
You have to do that though in a team effort like that. It has to be done, or it's not going to be done correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and like for us, for example, like filming wise, I don't know nothing. Like I just film shit and I just hand it to Steven. And
Trev films
Steven
it,
builds
sends me
it.
the footage, and I go, okay,
Oh, yeah.
I got to make this work. And then I'll put it together and I'll send it to Trev and be like, what do you think? Give me your feedback. Be like, I'm thinking this or this. And I'm like, either yes or no, you know, just to get that external kind of,
yeah.
you know, if I sent it to one of you guys would be like, oh, the composition's wrong. You know, he's out of frame, or, you know, rule of thirds, all that crap.
You're not getting that here,
Ours
man.
is just, it's like, hey, the camera's on the deer, and then I shot the deer and the camera's back on me, and deal with it.
Bro, I'm here to kill things. I'm here to kill things. You're lucky that the camera is near the deer. I mean, I don't know.
And that's funny because like you get into this thing, like so Joel's our primary producer, right? Like he produces almost everything that we do. And so you get into this like thing, and like you start shooting for production, which is a weird concept to change into. Like
Oh yeah.
start knowing what he wants to see and like what he wants to produce to. And so like he still busts my balls because like I like to frame people in a certain way, but I forget
Yes.
that he likes to do letterboxes. And so like when I frame my way, like he's got a letterbox and I'm cutting off the top of somebody's head and he's motherfucking me the whole time. And like,
Yeah.
if you know anything about us, like you can,
He likes that.
like
You
Paul,
like
Yep.
that.
Paul gets stuck in the Joel Bryan motherfucking sessions on a regular basis. It's like, this is
Joel, you're my new best friend. It's a
Yeah.
shame that I can't bullshit with you for the next year.
Paul's like mom and dad are fighting. He just gets quiet.
Just got to know when to shut up. And sometimes I don't.
Oh, that's great.
But it's
But
good. It's good to be partnered up with guys that'll do that for you, because it's important in this industry to have people that'll tell you like your shit sucks, and so you
Yeah.
can go get better. It really is important.
I think
100%.
the challenge is, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, if you're just going out to get some memories, who cares? Just use your, whatever GoPro off top of your head, get that little doe on the far top right of the frame. It doesn't matter. But for what we're trying to do, you're trying to get sponsors and they want good media and they want that slick footage. It's just a different level. So we enjoy that. But anytime you just want to get out there and film is awesome. You just have to know what is your goal. Am I just trying to capture a memory so I can throw it in black and white and rewatch it in Thanksgiving with my kids, a fun hunt?
Right.
I'm actually trying to win a film festival.
Yep.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Or put it on NBC Sports or Amazon Prime or whatever, So,
Yep.
Shoot for those things.
yep.
So what are some of your future goals? You guys have kind of like gotten there. So what is like your end goal in all of this?
We've gotten there.
Well, no, comparatively, you guys are, we're let me see. There I am. I'm in the screen. We're here. You're here. So
I think we want to we've decided that less is more for us. So we want to do less episodes and just super quality.
Yep.
And I think for us, we focus on cinematic. You have other
Yep.
ones that are shooting, the 60 frames per second, a little bit shaky, just dropping animals, kill, hard, heavy metal music, which is awesome. And that's a style. Our style is very cinematic. It almost feels like a movie. And
Yep.
we're not there, but we know what to do to get there, to where once the episode ends, you're like, was that a movie or was that an episode? So we're shooting 24 frames per second. We're trying to make a little bit more thematic. So I don't know. We're enjoying the Amazon Prime, probably lowering to 7 to 10 episodes a year. And then I think our sponsors are happy with that, because we can get the product placed in there and we're not having to stop the show every 10 minutes. That's exaggeration. It feels like they stop every 10 seconds. I mean, how many times you're watching a show, it seems like every 2 minutes they stop and do this. This is brought to you by blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
We don't do that, which is great because Amazon doesn't allow it.
yeah.
So we started specializing in our pitch to sponsors and people we work with is, hey, we're not allowed to have a commercial for you, but we will do discrete product placement.
Product placement, yeah.
Yes.
The item, we'll get it in there. So that makes the sponsors happy, and it allows us to not have to interrupt the flow of a short film. So
Agreed.
the film festival stuff we like, and we like to turn those into actual episodes.
Yeah.
So beyond that, we're trying to come up with a good pattern here that makes you disappear.
Yep. I hear you.
Stay warm, because this year I was chilly in our stuff, so I'd like to have some warmer clothes.
I sat in a lot of days in my
Yeah.
clothes, looking over at Joel, and he's like, "I'm cold. I'm cold." So, yeah. Honestly, at the end of the day, guys, we kind of want to do what anybody else wants to do in the industry. I mean, we're a bunch of hillbillies that want to do this for a living. We don't have it quite figured out either, man. So we bust our asses, we work hard, we hone our craft, we try to get better at it, and each year we sit down. So we are, what is today? So we're probably about 2 weeks out from our yearly meeting we do, where we write down our goals for the year, like anyone should that's got a company. We list them out. We compare what we did last year from our goals from the previous year, and we see where we're at. So this year we met all of our goals that we had planned on. So that's a good
Awesome.
year for us.
Congratulations.
Great year.
It's been great. Yeah, we got a product out. We were able to wear it.
Well,
It
and
was
that's
good.
what we've kind of figured out as a company. We kind of figured out that we can't, if you want to quit your day job and do this full time, you're not going to do it on the video side of the business, we don't think. You have to have product to sell in this industry to be able to quit your day jobs.
You've got to have
And,
that.
Yeah. So we kind of figured out that there really wasn't any really good camouflage companies out there that were American made. So that's kind of our niche. That's what we're going after. And
So-
cinematic videography at the same time.
But it works well for us because now we can do our own product placement.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, it's kind
That's smart.
Yeah, we're kind of double
Yep.
dipping there. But yeah, everybody wants to have a hunting show and things. The industry's just changed so much that even a big check, you know, and like I said, I think we're not the top dogs. We're starting to do pretty well. But I can already tell you that you can't feed 3 families off of that.
Right.
You just can't. Even the big sponsors, their checks, they're not. So going Amazon Prime and some of these other avenues allow us to look towards media outlets that wouldn't have existed otherwise, you know, that are beyond your prototypical hunting sponsorships. But because there's a lot of money to be made in the industry, and hunters spend a lot of money, but the guys with the cameras, they're dime a dozens. There's a million guys with the cameras. So
Especially now, like YouTube stars and so on and so forth, they're starting to, and which is great, man. Like, it's awesome. We love seeing that stuff. And I think
absolutely
stepping away from like how the whole industry has been curved as far as like, you know, what's been the normal realm. And now like guys like you guys, the realism of like real things that happen every day, you know, where these guys are filming, they shoot a deer and then they're taking 6 months to try and do the B-roll for it. So like all this stuff is real. I mean, that's very important in this industry is that right there. So it's good to see those kinds of things.
Yep. It just takes extra time. It's unbelievable. You guys probably know how much extra time it takes to do the video side of a hunt. It's just unbelievable.
I don't know.
It's what we got to do.
I mean, the shot usually averages 15 seconds. If you're lucky, you got maybe 45 seconds of pre-roll of that buck, maybe. Most of the time, you're looking 10, 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. So it's a 30-minute episode of which only 10 to 15 is the actual kill. So what do you have that's compelling to draw people in besides that? So you either need to drop a lot of animals, which takes a lot of money to get it out to all those states, or you got to have something to keep them hooked. So
absolutely,
it's a challenge.
Oh, I feel you, brother.
So let's change this. We've been talking all tech and all this crazy stuff. Let's talk about who the hell killed shit this year. What?
We can talk about that.
All right.
I'll start there.
All right. Let's hear it. So how was the season?
So my season ended up being really, really good. We still have a couple months left, have a couple goals left from a hunting standpoint for killing animals. But I started out 2nd of September. Delaware is a state that opens September 1st. So you can have an opportunity to velvet buck in Delaware. And so I'd never shot a velvet buck, even though I've hunted Delaware and Maryland for many years. So I ended up shooting not a giant, but a nice, pretty little 8-point in velvet. So that was my first velvet.
Awesome.
Getting him mounted at the taxidermist. And then later on, end of October, 3rd week of October, I found a new hunting spot this year in Delaware. Even though I live in Maryland, Delaware, I live literally like 5 minutes from the Delaware line. So, it's all right
not
here
a
for me.
big drive.
No.
Just before you finish the story, I just realized he never invites me and Joel up there to hunt.
That's because I hunt
a call out.
I literally hunt like 2 to 3 acre little pieces of private property that are part of bigger woods, but I have access to get into those woods. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's a big part of it, is just getting in, permission to be in those woods. But I found a new spot this year, and it's a spot you would never think in a million years that there would be deer back there. And so I asked the guy, I said, "Hey, do you mind if I put a camera up back there just to see what kind of deer you have back there?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." So I put the camera up, and that's when I first got a picture of that velvet buck that I ended up shooting. Then I ended up getting more and more pictures of. I'm like, "Oh my, this is like a hidden gem of quality bucks." And I'm talking suburban, Newcastle County, Delaware. There is a highway, major highway.
I know where you're talking.
And I don't want to give up too much information, but anyway, I shot just an absolute. I don't think you can shoot a bigger deer in northern Delaware, in my opinion, that I shot this year. And he ended up being a 157 7/8.
Wow.
Perfect 10-point. I mean, just an absolute I mean, he's probably 4, maybe 5 years old. Just a stud of a deer. And then got that at the end of October, towards the end of October. Then went to Ohio and was in Ohio from Halloween through the 15th of November. And on day 14 of my 15-day hunt, I was able to finally kill a 140 plus. I don't know what, we didn't measure it yet, but our goal is in Ohio is at least 140 or better. And so I shot a 140 or better 10-point in Ohio.
Awesome.
So for me, and then I shot a Sika hind in early October as well on film. So yeah, I've had 4 kills this year and still trying to get after it.
And for anyone making fun of him because he said he shot a Sika hind and he was talking proud, has never shot Sika deer.
No,
just saying.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's a trophy, no question.
No,
archery as well, so it's even tougher.
Yeah, I had a swing and a miss on a hind at 15 yards because I didn't realize how small they were. I judged 20 and went right over her back.
I've got to see
and they'll jump
right now, right? Like,
and they'll jump
like mount.
Yep, just whoop.
Yeah, absolutely. And those Sika will jump the string quicker than a whitetail, no question.
Yeah, and you're not finding that arrow. I don't care if you got a limb knock on there. You're not finding it.
Let's go.
Yeah. So good year for me.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's a killer 2020.
Yeah. We'll hop in real quick because I actually have a phone call that keeps coming through. So I just want to thank you guys for having us on. But I had an awesome season. Brian will catch you up on all of our stories because all of my kills were with Brian. So
nice.
Early in March, I knew I was getting deployed. I was like, dude, let's hunt every minute we can. So we did a lot of pig hunting. I went and hunted elk. Man, it seems like we hit 4 or 5 states. So Brian can tell you all the stories. But guys, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I don't want to be rude and then you ain't going to the phone.
You're
but
good,
let's
brother.
stay in contact. I want to see your all's footage. Well, maybe we can get a hunt in next year.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll get with you. We'll get your address, and we'll get you some care packages and all that going. For everyone who didn't follow, Joel is actually on his way back over to the Middle East, and we want to thank him for his service. So thank you, brother.
Appreciate you guys as well. We got a whole bunch of veterans in this room, so thank you guys. I'll let Brian tell you the story, but thanks again. We'll talk soon.
Will do. Have a good one,
Good luck, Joel.
Take care, guys. Here's the party. That podcast is just going to go down from here. I can sense it.
Yeah, I feel you.
So we actually, as Joel signs off, he shot 2 really good bucks this year that he got. He shot what was that one? Do you remember the size of that deer that was 170?
100, well, it's like a 180, I thought.
180. It was 180-inch mainframe 8-point for the most part. I mean, it was freaking giant 8-point he shot this year.
Illinois.
Up in Illinois. And then he shot for the rest of us, a normal one. It was like a 140-inch 9-point that he shot. That was a decent deer. Wow. Then we went out to Colorado. He had an opportunity at one, just didn't present itself. A nice, it's probably a 270-inch elk, but just didn't present itself. We didn't get a shot on him. And then he killed a couple of pigs this year as well.
I did too. That's right. I forgot about that part.
I killed
killer season.
I killed my first deer in 3 years this year with my bow, which is crazy. When I going from like shooting like 16 plus deer a year to like the last couple, I haven't shot many, but I've been wrapped up in Sons of Fall and filming. So those of you that want to get into filming and like doing all this stuff, realize you often aren't killing as many throughout the season.
Yes. I will agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
It goes away a little bit from your ability. It's a lot easier to kill something when you're just got a bow in your hand and you're able to just kind of go around. But not that I would trade that. It actually has been a lot of fun and like filming. I've got to film a lot of cool hunts and be a part of some neat stuff. Actually, I forgot. Joel shot a Mouflon ram as well.
Yeah, that's right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a busy year for us. Like we got quite a bit of filming. We don't have most of our episodes put together, but pigs.
So where will they be able to see some of this stuff when it does come out?
So we always post stuff on YouTube. That is always a place we put it. So anyone that like wants to just go to YouTube, they can find our stuff. We believe in putting our stuff out there. People go find it immediately, right? So like when an episode's done, it ends up on YouTube. our when the episode's final. So we have a, hey, this is our done episode. Like,
Your
hey,
rough cut.
we made it through edits. It's rough cut. That'll go up on YouTube. When we get it to final, where we actually think it should be, it'll go. I'll start the process of working through Amazon's rigmarole, and
Yep.
I'll post them on Amazon Prime, so most people can find stuff on Amazon Prime for us as well. That's the final destination for it. But between those two, you'll get it. We also do a bunch of footage for our kind of partners like March and Mill and Wild and Free. So if you go check them out, some of our episodes will show up with those guys because they post them as well. But yeah, that's the primary avenue for getting to our stuff.
That's awesome.
If you want to get in touch with us on social media, we are extremely active on Instagram. Paul runs that for us. And
I mean, you talk to us. That's
I talk with everyone on there. So that's one of the things we
yeah.
honestly, Joel and I beat Paul up all the time about it. It's like Paul is really, really good at running the social media because he gets beat up all the time. But that's
And I'm the old guy.
we try
The
to
old guy's running the social
Yeah,
media.
I was gonna say it's kind of backwards. Usually it's
Doesn't
the
make
old
sense,
guys.
does it?
Like I let Trev handle it. I'm like, dude, you get it. You're a little younger. It's your world. Do your thing.
No. But Joel runs production. I do tech and kind of the business side of it. I have an MBA, and then Paul
Okay.
does the social media and kind of sales marketing portion of it.
Nice.
It's kind of crazy because you hit a nail on the head, which is the whole social media thing with like contacting with everybody is like so important. And one thing that I've learned through all my endeavors, because I've had a lot of them that have crashed into big walls. But the thing is, like, one of the important things is just talking to everybody, man. And
Yeah.
how cool it is to just like, dude, anybody who messages us like for the podcast, I talk to them. I don't care. I'll have a straight up conversation. My wife will get mad at me. It'll be like 2:00 in the morning. Be like, who are you talking to? And I'm like,
I'll vouch for that too.
I don't know. My buddy Paul over here, he just shot a fucking giant and we're talking about it. Like it's 2 a.m. He just found it. Like we're talking about it. Like it's
Deal, man. Like, and that's, we rarely say no to people. Like, it's pretty rare that we'll say no to something that somebody wants to talk about, figure out with us. Like, if we can make it work, we make it work. Like, our biggest problem is we all have day jobs, right? Like,
Yeah.
we all work full time. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, there are some people that don't understand that. But for the most part, like, this industry is a bunch of good people, and they understand, like, working full time and you kind of got to put some priorities first. But we all love doing this, man. Like, this is our passion. It's fun to just have like-minded people around to bullshit with and have a good time.
Yeah, it's where you disconnect from the rest of the real world.
Yep, that's totally the
No
case.
question.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yep, cannot beat it.
so I do have a
What else
question.
do you guys want to know?
Oh.
Perfect, guy. Just so we're aware here.
Are you a
I know what
bourbon
he
guy?
wants to know.
I am bourbon guy. He asked the
Yeah.
question. I'll actually move my computer for that one. Oh, let's see if it pops up here. This is my bourbon collection.
Oh, wow.
Jeez,
Check
that's
that out.
awesome.
Sweet.
Very nice.
Yeah, you're well prepared.
Yeah, I like bourbon. Bourbon's my jam.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
So what's some of your goals with like the camouflage and stuff? Because I kind of want to touch on that. Like where can people get that? Like what is kind of like some of that? Like take us through that a little bit.
Both of them got that shit-eating grin like, all right, here we go.
Oh, you want to bust my balls? This is your chance.
Yeah, we're on with Brian. We're all, Joel and I are always on Brian about this because we've been I'll let you answer this, Brian. I don't want to.
I'll let you bust my balls. You get fair carte blanche here, man.
I've been asking for months for our stuff to get put on our website, and just hey, let's just take a credit card. We're not there yet, but we are selling product, and we're doing it through Instagram, and we're doing it with PayPal. So
Okay.
that's what we're at right now. I would assume, Brian, correct me, we're within another month or so.
Yep.
You will be able to go to sonsoffall.com, see pictures of the product, put a credit card in, and order American-made, Artemis gear. And that's our goal. Eventually, our long-term goal for next year is going to be to sell it through Amazon. So you can hit Amazon and place an order, or go to a Sons of Fall website and place an order there. We don't have a wholesale plan for this next year. Like you won't be able to find it at your local sporting goods store, more than likely. There's just not enough margin in it because it's American.
I don't blame you. frankly.
Yeah. So it'll be direct, either through us or probably through Amazon.
You mean so you'll sell something and they can get it directly from you and trust that it's from you? If there's an issue, they can go back to you?
Yeah, imagine that.
That's almost unheard of these days.
Like
Yeah,
literally,
imagine that. He's shipping all of that gear in his office to my office because I'll start handling some of the shipping of it. So.
Literally, right.
Have you seen our pattern? Have you
No.
seen the
I have seen it. I was actually
Well, I'd
looking at
seen
it the
but
other
not-
day.
Yeah.
The old
Brian,
lady,
show-
like, have you seen this? I said,
Yeah.
let me
can
look
No,
at
I
it.
haven't.
I can show you a prototype though. You want to see one of
Yep.
our prototypes of our gear?
There you go.
We'd
Yes.
love to see it.
Yeah. So this is our rise pattern. So this is what I'd recommend for people in tree stands. Like this is a
Yep.
tree stand pattern. Like
It's got more green tones, some blacks, tans.
blacks, tans, greens. It's got a sequence on it that's called a Voronoi sequence. That's kind of for all those nerds out in the world that want to know stuff. But
Show them, Brian. Show them what you're talking about.
see if I can kind of get it up here. So I'll get one on my hand. So I don't know if I get it
It's,
close enough.
it's
and
not
actually-
just a repeating pattern. It's actually developed to break the pattern.
correct.
Correct.
So those lines that
Exactly.
are built in there, I don't know how clear that is, but those
Yeah,
lines
you can
clear.
see it. Yep.
they're a repeating sequence that's based on a series of points. So any point, if you take a scatter plot of points and you were to draw a space around them and you make an equidistance from all the other points that are on that plot, it'll make that type of pattern. It's called the Voronoi sequence. And
Yep.
so it shows up in nature everywhere, right? Like giraffe patterns, mud flats, tree bark, like they come up, any leaf cells, like all of those type of things. This is just a repeated pattern in nature. So I put that in there based on kind of, and I took the premise of military science associated with the actual color sequencing.
Yep.
And then I paired that with a Voronoi sequence, and this is what we came up with here. So I've got that pattern there. This is a prototype hoodie, which a lot of people are asking for. So a built-in hood and a lot of changes. I just actually met with our developers the other day and put a whole bunch of input on what all they got to fix. But that's phase one of what's going on there. And then,
Show them strike and rise together. If you have a couple of beanies side by side.
so I got another shirt up here. So this is
That's strike.
This is strike. So this is like
Yeah.
it's more of a tan and brown base. Works with like pines. It works really, really good in pines. This color does, as
Yep.
well as any
CRT
kind of
fields.
field, mountainous, open.
It screams Western and Predator to me.
Western.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
exactly
I call it the ground and pound design.
Yep.
You know. Exactly. That's why we call it strike, because you're on the ground and you're moving in for that strike.
I like it.
So those
That's
two
how we came
patterns
up
are
with the
kind of
name.
our primary. We've also got some fishing patterns we have as well that are just kind of our extra ones for people that want to have a fishing shirt. We've got two of
Yeah.
those that are out there. And so, but
Nice.
I'm hoping probably January I'll have the website overhaul complete. So I do all of the website design and all of those pieces as well, like in all of my copious amounts
My hat's off to you.
of side. So
I hate web design. That's one thing I don't. I do IT for a living. I hate web design.
So once I complete our taxes in early January, then I'll convert over to website design and build a store for Paul. So he's got a store. He's not selling it on Instagram. But
Nice.
Yeah.
I do have one request. One thing you guys have to do.
what's that?
Why Joel is overseas, I want you to take one of your, in this case, use the strike. It would work well for the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
for the
need you to
sand.
make him a set of Ranger panties.
Oh, hell yeah. That'd be awesome.
Send him a set of Ranger panties.
Make him a set. That'd be awesome for him to wear around out there. I
That
don't
would
know if he has
be
the balls to do it.
awesome.
I don't know if he has the balls to do it. That'd be good to go to get a picture.
That would. Yeah. We should get
Yeah,
some cold.
I'm all for that. You
Yep.
got to do it, man.
Yeah. The
I will pay for it out of my pocket.
yeah, make it happen. But to Paul's point though, the reason we do sell these on Instagram and kind of did it the way we did is the truth is the investment to get into this is actually pretty huge. Anyone that like is trying to ever do it, it's pretty big to like get into it. And so we had a ton of support from our followers and our fans that
Pretty
kind
would.
of put it out there like, hey guys, we need some help here with prototyping this stuff and getting it out there. We'll give you a discount on all of this stuff, understanding what it costs to make it. And if you guys are willing to kind of help us out and order some of this stuff. And so we've just been taking orders, working through the development process. We've got changes we got to make based on the feedback they have, and we kind of keep in contact with them as it goes. And it's kind of been I don't know, they've been the reason we've been able to do it, is our fans have been able to deal with some of our shortcomings, deal with some of the problems in the fabric and materials as we've gone through this process and learned. And so it's just kind of a testament to people in this industry sticking with the small guy, right? And helping us get through.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's been great. Absolutely great.
And it's a really cool feeling wearing your own camo pattern in a tree.
I can imagine.
It is a really cool feeling.
Especially to kill in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was this year for me. I killed my first deer in several years in my own pattern that came out of my own head, right? Like, so I literally sat at this computer, developed this pattern. If you saw the first version of this pattern, you guys would laugh so hard. Like,
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Revisions of that pattern that are out there. Paul can attest. He's like, ooh,
Oh, yeah.
what the hell am I getting into here?
That's great.
Well, it seems like you guys all had stellar seasons and you had your own camo to do it in. So obviously there's something there. It's definitely the good.
It's a proven killer camo pattern.
That's what we like.
Sure.
Well, we know that. I mean, you got a whole bucket full of for kills on it. So
I tell you what, this year, the first year this has been released, just on our team, we have 4 deer that could have been killed over 150 inches in the first year of doing it between 5 people.
Awesome.
that's incredible.
That's awesome.
Not a bad year with your own your first set of camo.
Not bad at all. I'll take 4.
Hit me up. I can get you the invoice.
So we ask one question here. It's the final question. That is what drives you guys outdoors?
Oh man, my dad.
Why do you say that?
Twice on Sunday. So I don't know. I grew up. I got my first gun when I was 7 years old. My dad bought me a .22. He didn't believe in BB guns. He said, if you're gonna get a gun, you're gonna get a gun to kill something, and if you kill something, you're gonna learn what to do with it. And so, like, I kind of just embodied that. And man, I became a killer. Like, I've killed a lot of deer. For a dude that's 38 years old, if you put me against most 38-year-olds, I think I've killed 200 deer in my time with a bow alone. Right. So I've got a lot of deer under my belt with a bow, and all of it's just because of when I was 7 with my dad. He taught me, if you're going to shoot something, learn what to do with it. And so shoot deer. If I can't eat them myself, I donate them to the hungry. I give them to friends. I spend time butchering them. I can tell you the ins and outs of what to do with them. And every part of me is met on how do I get that meat in the fridge, or how do I get in somebody else's fridge, and how do I make it happen?
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, for me, I think what drives me to the outdoors is what immediately comes to my mind is the adrenaline that you get. I think we all know that adrenaline when that whatever it is that's coming in, and it just takes over your body, and it's just a feeling that you just can't find. You know, I don't do drugs. I don't know what drugs do to a body. I have no idea, but I can't imagine that any other drug would do that to a body like what the adrenaline does when this big buck's coming in, or whatever it is that you're pursuing. This bull elk right here. You can't imagine what happens to your body when something like that's 20 yards away bugling at you.
I feel you.
So it's unbelievable. And then the food side of it is always a very big. I got 3 freezers in my basement full of venison right now, and the camaraderie. And that's when I go to Ohio, our deal is with the 4 friends that I hunt with in Ohio is if you kill early we pick 1 week out of the year where we're all there together. Like, we have to be there that week. It's usually, like the 8th to the 15th of November, for example. If you kill on the 8th, you still have to stay there through the 15th and share that week with your friends. And that's what we do. So
that's the thing, man.
Yeah. So that, for me, it's the adrenaline, it's the meat, and it's the camaraderie.
Do you remember what
That's
I
what
told
drives
you
me.
Paul, when you joined Sons of Fall? Like what I wanted Sons of Fall to be? Do you remember my vision for it? I
No.
want.
No, go ahead.
My goal was I really wanted a virtual hunting camp, right? Like you
That's
can't
right. Yeah,
be around
absolutely.
all the time. Like that was my vision for Sons of Fall, and we were looking for people. And when we talked to everyone about it, as the baseline is like, I get that not all of us are going to get along. I get that we're going to have our differences, but like the goal is to kind of sit down, have a virtual hunting camp, a place that we can all kind of find common ground and have some fun, right? Like, and just BS, share stuff, be with guys that understand kind of what you're all about and kind of move this industry forward. Because the truth is this industry is changing. It's not what it used to be years ago, where you've got 1 or 2, 3 companies that run everything anymore. You can find all the hunting shows in the world on YouTube if you just go out and look for them. They're all there. You can find whatever you want. Like, so this industry is about people right now and relationships.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, real quick, before we let you go, one last time, where can everybody find you?
Instagram. I'm going to go with Instagram, Paul. You're not going to send it to the website.
Yeah. Go with, at Sons of Fall on Instagram. And then also www.sonsoffall.com for our website. Instagram is where we're most active. I'm on that, every day, several times a day. So hit us up, send us a message. If you want to order some Artemis, I can give you more details, privately, and, support American-made product.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Greatly appreciate
All
that.
of us, all of our emails too, if anybody wants to do them, it's our first name dot last name at sonsoffall.com. So Brian.Henley at sonsoffall.com, Paul.Lauber at sonsoffall.com, Joel.Pour@sonsoffall. Email us anytime. If you hit us up on Instagram or any of the places or email, we'll give you our phone numbers. We'll talk for hours. We're kind of open books when it comes to kind of doing this stuff.
Awesome.
Real guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys having us.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
The pleasure's
really
ours.
fun talking with you guys.
I don't think it's going to be the last
Pleasure's
time.
ours.
I don't think it's going to be the last time.
I know.
Good.
I got a feeling you guys are going to get annoyed with me picking your brains.
We're always here, man.
We welcome it.
Good deal.
Get your cell phones, do some texting. You have to keep us in touch on how you do with that deer.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Absolutely.
that one was killed or not, though. That 1% chance.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll definitely make sure he does that, and I'll make sure we got all the emails and all the details in the show notes, so everyone can find you down in the descriptions. And
Thanks, guys. When it goes up, let us know, because we'll make a post about this and share it on our feed.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll kick this all over and keep you well informed of it. Thank you guys for joining us around our campfire here at our virtual hunt camp.
Yeah, man.
And if there's anything we can do for you in the future, if you guys ever want to talk or chit chat, or you have something coming out, let us know. We'd be happy to help you guys push it. And in the meantime, for everyone out there, can't thank you enough. Check these guys out, get on their stuff, follow along, get their videos. It's phenomenal. I've followed them for a long time, and you really need to just check it out. It's quality work, and they're just everyday guys. That's the beauty of it. So in the meantime, you know where to find them. You know what to do. And thank you guys for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.